Servus Männer, it's Red Pill Germany again. I did a little bit of election meddling in the last days. Yeah, I'm one of these evil foreigners who tries to influence the outcome of the presidential election in the United States, of course. So I saw the story about Biden and I saw that Facebook and Twitter are trying to suppress the story. And then I thought, okay, you have a couple of friends in the United States that are kind of liberals or friends/old acquaintances. And I thought, I just write them an email and put the link of the New York Post article about Hunter Biden's laptop into that email. And I asked them to read the story and tell me if that is really the guy they want to be the next president of the United States. Now guess what responses I got. I think I sent out 5 emails, and by the way, I normally don't do that. I don't use Facebook. I don't use any of these platforms where I would, harass my family and my friends with posts about politics and comments about what is going on and trying to influence them or whatever. That doesn't work anyway. But this time I thought, write them an email because maybe they're so in their liberal bubble and they would actually miss that story. I mean, now it is kind of not very probable that they would actually miss that. But in the beginning, it looked to me like, well, they might have missed that. I really want them to know that, and I want to know their response. I got 3 responses, and they were all the same, actually. Do you know what they said? They said, it doesn't convince me. And I wrote back, what do you mean it doesn't convince you? I mean, there are photos, there are emails, there is evidence, it's corroborated, the story is evolving, nobody is really denying it. This is what happened, yeah? It was pay for play, cash for access, highly criminal, highly corrupt stuff involving foreign companies and foreign powers, and he continuously lied about it. So what do you mean it is not convincing to you? And they said, yeah, I don't buy it. I don't buy the story. It's not convincing. And once again, they couldn't really explain to me what they meant. Like, do they think these emails were, faked and just put on this hard drive by somebody in order to frame them or something, or in order to give off a false impression? I asked them a little bit, but there wasn't so much coming back. It was just, it's not convincing to me. And I was reminded of a story, or actually something that happened to me years ago. It was earlier than 2015. It was actually 2013, I think, and I was meeting somewhere in Asia with a good old friend, a really good old friend, and he's also a lefty, but reasonable. Like, you could have a civil debate at least with him. He's an intelligent guy. He would listen to arguments, and he's a lefty, but you were still able to reach him somehow. And I was showing him an expose of a German journalist who was at the time doing research and publishing a story about, let's say, irregular travelers that entered the European Union and in the end Germany via Greece and the Balkans. He was walking with those guys. He was interviewing them. He asked them where they are from, how they know all that stuff, and where they're going. And they said, yeah, well, there are these NGOs, and they gave us these maps and these leaflets, and, there are these apps and these websites that tell us exactly where the patrols are and where we should cross and what areas we should avoid, and, where that stuff comes from, right? And what these NGOs are, right? So anyway, I was showing my friend this newspaper article, and he looked at it, he read the headline and skipped over a couple of paragraphs, and then he looked at me, and I was there with someone else. Thank God that I had a witness, because normally when I say these things, it sounds so unbelievable. People think I'm making this stuff up. There can't possibly be someone that ignorant. But, I had a witness. I have someone who witnessed it, yeah? So this guy, he reads the article, looks at the pictures. There were videos, all these interviews with these guys. It was video footage. And he looks at me and says, nah, I don't buy it. I don't know, it's not convincing. The same answer, the very same answer that I got from my liberal US acquaintances right now about the Biden story. They look at the evidence, they look at the data, and they say, I don't know, it's just not convincing to me. Wow. They are so deep in their simulation, they are so deep in their bubble that they don't even accept these facts. They're outright denying that this exists. And if you want to know from them what it is exactly that doesn't convince them, they don't really want to answer. It is the very same behavior that I saw 2013 from my old high school, or actually we go way back, like primary school actually, from my old friend in Germany. So they look at you and they say, I don't know, I don't want to talk about it. It doesn't convince me. Yeah. They cannot even tell you what part it is, or is it the source? Is it like you think these pictures are doctored, or these are all paid actors or something? Or is that some evil right-wing conspiracy that just paid a bunch of foreigners to say these things into the camera? Or what is it that you think is the case here? They don't want to answer. They just say, it's not convincing, I don't buy it. And these are generally intelligent, very well educated people who are in their careers, in their normal lives, they're generally very intelligent and very rational. But they have this ideological blind spot where they are so convinced of their worldview that you cannot reach them even with really 100% bulletproof, clear evidence. So all these guys, they will still be voting for Biden, and they have no problem with maybe their future president being a career criminal, a corrupt crook who is collecting money from foreign companies and who lets that interfere with their work in politics, with their public office in government. It is almost cute when you look into the history books and you read about the Watergate scandal, like, they were listening on people, and then the president had to step down, yeah? When you read about these stories from the 1970s, it almost looks cute, like these were some innocent, better days. Nowadays, they just don't care anymore. I think the Trump derangement syndrome, the hate for ordinary Americans and for conservatives and for honest, good families is so strong in these people that they really don't care about facts anymore. They don't care about these scandals. In their worldview, this is not a scandal because their guy is allowed to do it. And it is really a pity that this communication with my American acquaintances was via email, and I didn't see their faces. But my German friend, back then when we were drinking in Asia, when I told him, or when I showed him actually the evidence, the story about all these travelers coming illegally into Europe, I could see his face. I could actually see how something was working in him. He looked at this article and then he frowned and he scratched his head and he almost looked like he's in physical pain. I'm not kidding. And the guy that I was with there, he also saw it. He looked physically unwell, extremely uncomfortable. And that is how a person looks like when cognitive dissonance goes into overdrive. These people, they are suffering physically when they are confronted with information that challenges their worldview. And never, under any circumstances, underestimate the ability of human beings to rationalize and justify everything just so that their ideology and their worldview is safe and secure. They can shield that completely from all evidence, from all data, and they do everything they can to protect their egos and their ideology. And that can lead anywhere. That can lead to total self-destruction. And we can joke about these people and troll them and trigger them all day long, but never underestimate these sick and deranged people. And they are actually dangerous. Do not turn your back on these people. They will sacrifice everything. Nothing is holy to them. Their egos and their worldview, their ideology. That is paramount. And it was really cool that I could see that on my friend's face. It was literally written on his forehead. I could see it working in him live as we spoke. So I don't know, I just thought I want to share this story, my little attempt at election meddling 2020. Unsuccessful, I think, because these people are beyond help. So let me know if you have any experiences with that. Did you try to red pill someone or to forward some kind of article to a family member or to a friend at some point, and you may have experienced similar things to what I just explained to you? Let me know in the comments down below. Take care. Servus, Kameraden.